What's up, guys? What's going on? Just a real quick review here. So, I recently became aware of a band called Cry Venom. If you never heard of Cry Venom, it's Jackie Vincent from Falling in Reverse. He left Falling in Reverse, formed his own band, and it's actually released March 3rd, I think. He formed a new band called Cry Venom, which is power metal. And I was never a huge Falling in Reverse fan, but the first song I listened to them was Born to Lead. First song I listened by them was Born to Lead, which was awesome. I love, the guitar work, and, the lyrics are pretty cool and the vocals are pretty good. The message was great. And I went back and listened to some of their other stuff and wasn't really too much of a fan, but I couldn't doubt Jackie Vincent's talent. So he left Falling in Reverse and then went on to form this band, and it definitely very interesting. I definitely wouldn't have thought he would go the power metal route, but then again, I really didn't know him much as a player or anything like that, so I wasn't sure which route he was going to go. But I was in the studio one day, and a friend of mine who was recording me and also was the one who showed me Born to Lead, um, just showed it to me, and I was very, very just intrigued. As soon as the opening started, I was like, this sounds really power metal-y. And then, it turned out to be power metal, so I was just really, really intrigued. And it was an excellent song, and they released another one, which I'll probably review later. But just gonna give you like a really short review of this one. Like, I really didn't take too much notes. It was a really, really great song. The intro was very, very interesting. Like, as soon as I heard the intro, it just grabbed me. I was like, this sounds, kind of power metal-y. I wasn't sure if it was going to stay that way or go into like a whole different genre, but it sounded kind of power metal-y. And indeed, it did even have some harsh vocals in there, which actually worked. The way the song was mixed and the way it was written and arranged, the harsh vocals didn't really take over or seem too abrasive in front of all of the softer instrumental parts. Because when the harsh vocals come in, they're over like kind of fairy-ish parts, keyboard parts, softer, more sort of happier instrumentals, and they come in and they just provide that contrast, pretty well, which I was surprised at. I heard harsh vocals, I was like, of course, like Dragon Force does harsh vocals and everything like that, but they're usually kind of lower mixed in the background or evenly mixed with the clean vocals. So just like having like out there, I was like, whoa, just straight harsh vocals. That was interesting. So I was like, power metal core when I first heard it. But they actually work really, really well, not having any clean vocals, just straight harsh vocals over those softer parts creates like an excellent yin and yang, kind of contrast there. And it works pretty well. After the second chorus, there's this really, really nice little piano part that I really, really enjoyed. And that's another thing, because some power metal bands do have, piano and keyboard, some don't. My band does, Dragon Force does, Twilight Force does, but, Glory Hammer doesn't, So it's not necessary, but I really love to see when power metal bands have keyboards, because it's just like, gives that extra element. It really gives it that kind of mythical and that fairy tale feeling to it, in my opinion. So the fact that they have a keyboardist there is really, really nice. I enjoyed that. And of course, just like the whoa, 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 just that was really amazing. I was like, okay, this is quality power metal right here. Which of course just made me extremely excited. So I mean, the whole thing as a whole, and like I said, I'll listen to the other song and do that as well. It's just really, really well put together. It's mixed very evenly. Like, you hear the bass, you hear the rhythm guitars, like you hear all the leads great, you hear the keyboards well, the vocals sit very well on top of everything. Like I said, the vocals, the harsh vocals didn't take over or sound too abrasive behind the instrumentals. Like, the lyrics were very, very interesting. I've never, and of course I'm not a Wolfsbane expert, but that was, um, that was a very interesting lyrical subject. It wasn't like super fantasyful, but it wasn't, like too reality based, I guess. But the lyrics were really interesting, and definitely an interesting lyrical choice. And the way the lyrics fit in the music At first, with the lyrical flow along with the vocal phrasing at first was a little odd to me, because just the timing of some of the entrances of the lyrics and the lines and everything, it was a little odd to me at first, and I had to get used to that because it wasn't, everything didn't flow the way I expected it to, which isn't a bad thing. It's just like I had like my own idea of how it was gonna go, and it went different. I was like, oh wow, interesting. A little odd, but also kind of interesting. I have to get used to that. So that was really cool, and everything sounded really well. You know, the vocals, the vocalist has a very interesting voice. You know, he can hit those highs and he hit the clean vocals, and he can, you know, harmonize himself. And I want to say and I'll get into this when I talk about, you know, the song as a song later on, but he has an interesting way of doing his particular style of power metal vocals, because, you know, he has those highs, you know, he has a range, but he has like a little bit of inflection in his voice. Like I'm not sure how he sings. Like I'd love to see a video of just like his mouth while he sings. I'm not really sure how he vocalizes, but he has this really interesting inflection in his voice that, you know, kind of makes him sound a little bit different than other, you know, power metal singers, you know, because he sounds a little bit like Mark Hudson, but he has this inflection in his voice that just gives him like a uniqueness to where you know it's his voice, you know. So that's very good. I think Jackie found himself a really good singer, and yeah, it's just really, like, you know, I heard this and I was like, wow, you know, like it's really, really nice. There, you know, modern power metal bands out there. You know, we got Unleash the Archers, who's still relatively new. We've got Cry Venom, we got Twilight Force, and it's kind of cool to see power metal coming back, you know, both in, you know, like classic power metal style like Twilight Force is, with dragons and kings, and, you know, they all have their code names like Krillian and Diash and everything like that. And we also have, you know, this kind of newer, different power metal in Cry Venom and bands like Unleash the Archers. Because in Unleash the Archers, you know, they mix death metal / black metal-ish vocals with, you know, Brandy's, you know, super high Rob Halfordy screams, but, you know, she has a really wide range, and she definitely uses it, especially on their second album. And, you know, you have, you know, they don't even use keyboards. Unleash the Archers don't even use keyboards, but it's still really, really good power metal, you know, in my opinion. You know, of course some other elements mixed in, but mainly power metal. And then, you know, you got Twilight Force, which just, when I first heard Twilight Force, saw Gates of Glory, I was just elated. I was like, this is amazing, you know, like true, real power metal is back, you know. I was like extremely happy, you know. I can't wait to see them live. I can't wait to hear more of their music, and, you know, just make sure they keep going and everything. And now you have Cry Venom, which, you know, is just, it's more in that vein of, I want to kind of say, like, a little bit of classic power metal with, because you look at Twilight Force, they're kind of like, you know, the Glory Hammerfall power metal, whereas if you look at bands like Cry Venom or Unleash the Archers, they're kind of closer, you know, Halloween kind of power metal, you know. You know, Halloween saying like God, but they also have like songs like Future World and I'm Alive. So it wasn't always fantasy based, but it still had that power metal sound, that power metal feel to it. But I know I'm not even reviewing the song anymore, but it's just really nice to see that power metal still, you know, I wouldn't say it's coming back, but it's nice to know it's still out there, and there's still new bands doing, you know, power metal, you know, like Cry Venom and Twilight Force, and, you know, Unleash Art. I'm talking about newer bands here, you know, I know about Sabaton and all that stuff, but just like, you know, it's really, really nice. But, yeah, I would put a link to it in the description. You guys should definitely go check it out if you love power metal. I went and looked at the channel. It said the album was supposed to be out in September, but they're mixing it and they're going to master it, so hopefully it'll be out, you know, first half of 2017. I'm definitely going to listen to it, check it out. And you guys should too. Pretty excellent power metal. Yeah, really, really good song. So go check it out. If you guys like my videos, give me a like or a subscription, comment. Thanks for watching, and rock on.